What's up, everybody? My name is Arnoldo Lozano. I'm here with a friend, Sean. What's up, Sean? How you doing, brother?
Hey Arnoldo, good to see you again.
Yep, we're here to talk about a little bit of the preview of what we got this weekend between Tigres and Toluca. So, Sean, wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts going into this game? What are some expectations on the Tigres side and maybe on the Toluca side about this upcoming match?
Absolutely, yeah. So coming off of that, crazy survive a red card, still pull out a win game last week. Got to be feeling good about the momentum with our side. A little bit of lineup changes forecasted if you believe the stuff on the internet. So it'll be interesting to see how those dynamics work out. I think kind of a lot of familiarity though with some of those guys, with it being Leo Fernandez and Jordan Sierra and Torres Nilo getting regular minutes for them. It's kind of like guys that left us, so you would expect us to have a certain talent differential or talent advantage on our side. So I would go in expecting a win, kind of based on both our recent form and where they're at in the table and we're at in the table. And then kind of based on their recent results as well. I would say we should be coming out of this game looking maybe 2-1.
2-1. Okay, so one particular thing that stands out to me about this game is the return of Leo Fernandez. Leo obviously has taken a new or gathered new life in Toluca again. He had it there during the season that was cut short during the pandemic, where he had, I think, 8 goals in 10 games, something like that. So you knew he could ball there. I think that obviously the expectations were really high for him at Tigres, and everybody expected some kind of trickery or goals, scoring play, or even a goal itself from him every chance he was on the field. And with Tuca, he didn't get any minutes. And then with Piojo, Piojo made some comments before the even season started that he was probably not going to play him, and it ended up sticking out. Earned some minutes, demonstrated some things here and there, but overall, not really spectacular with Tigres. But at Toluca, he feels more comfortable, and I'm excited to see him in that, more of a free roaming role that, with Tigres, he was not going to play. With the amount of talent we have here, it's kind of hard for someone to just kind of like be the focus of attack without, doing your part on defense. So I'm excited about his return. I'm excited, and I'm curious to see how the fans are going to welcome him, at El Volcan.
Yeah, he's obviously a very ball-centric player. Being wearing the number 10 shirt for Toluca now, he's getting a lot of opportunities to really dictate the attack that he certainly wasn't going to find here in a replacement of Quinones kind of role. The guy's got 4 goals in his last 3 games. So obviously playing really, really well in this stretch of form right now. Very, very dangerous from the top of the box, right foot, left foot. We obviously are familiar with his skill set, and so it'll be on that back three, the Guido, the Lishnovskis, the Ayalas, the Reyeses, to really keep a tight lid on them. I would look even maybe for a little extra help from Carioca pinching back maybe to try and shut him down, just for the size matchup. Obviously, Leo being a bit undersized, I think if Carioca can show some physicality with him, that would be a difference maker potentially in this game.
So you're saying the midfield is where the key to this game is, winning that midfield and not allowing him to have that ability.
Absolutely. So in Toluca's last 5 games, they've only scored 1 goal from run of play inside the box. The rest of their goals have all come off of free kicks, penalties, and so yeah, and then the shots from outside of the top of the box. So what's going to be really key for our defense is to really make sure that the defense and midfield keep their lines closely connected and don't allow for those shots that require Noel to be brilliant and be making diving saves left and right all over the place.
And that's one of the things that Tigres has lacked recently in its 2 previous games, that intensity in the midfield. Like at times it seemed like the midfield, I don't want to say it was lost, but more so parted. Like there was no body in between, and that has to do obviously with Bigona starting last game. But there was no connection between the midfield and the attack to build up plays. So I thought that the lack of intensity has a lot to do with that, because you're not recovering the ball as quickly, to have the possession closer to the attacking third, as opposed to, maybe running after the ball and not pressuring as high. So where you have to build up plays from more out of the back. And that's kind of like the old system that we were, used to with Tuca is, possessing the ball and with numbers. But in this style with Piojo, you can't really afford that. So I think that the midfield is going to be really important to have a game for them to bounce back after the last two performances where we got outplayed against Pachuca, where we took a loss, and then in the last game against whom I can't think about who we just played.
God, I had it just pulled up a second ago.
Geez, I can't believe I just blanked. Wow.
Yeah, that's bad, man. We're getting old. Querétaro.
Querétaro, where? Yeah, wow. Yeah, they outplayed us, but we ended up, pulling out the win with probably a very poor to mid performance.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, the red card in itself, anytime you come away with a win in a game where you ended up going down a man, you just think you're lucky stars, move on to the next one. I think kind of even in looking at Toluca's recent run of form as well, they had 2 games where they got beat 3-0 America and Pachuca and looked real bad. They switched their formation. They were running 4 at the back. They have switched to a 5-3-2 recently, and have looked much better. They got the 2-1 win against Puebla. They got a 2-2 tie against Monterrey, and they got the 1-1 draw against Chivas.
In the last 97 minute, Leo Fernandez
the
goal.
Chivas
Yeah.
and the Monterrey game, they got last minute PKs to really, steal some points. So they haven't been on their best run of form necessarily either. They've been, squeaking by to steal points recently and are coming off of a couple blowout losses against highly talented teams. So I would say if we play our best and they play not great, it could get ugly at a 3-0 level. But I would expect with them being in a Lehia fight to really see a good, strong battle from them again, especially with a little bit of that revenge factor from seeing some of our former guys on the team.
Exactly. And I was going to say more so Leo, and, to prove, to his old coach and team and the fans that, they let him.
What you let go, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a good game. I'm with you. I'm predicting more of a 3-1. I think it is going to get a little chaotic. I was wrong on my last prediction against Querétaro. I was expecting a blowout. I was going on a 4-0 blowout. But I think with, like you mentioned, Toluca, looking to earn a spot in the Liguilla, and Tigres looking to bounce back at home, after, like I said, and mentioned the 2 previous poor performances, in my opinion. I think it'll be more intense. It'll be a lot more closer to what we saw Tigres during that streak of, high peak of soccer. So I'm hoping and expecting a 3-1 victory with Leo Fernandez definitely scoring. I think I have him, looking to get that, like you mentioned, revenge and, to prove us wrong. So other than that, super excited about the game though.
Yeah, really, really excited for it. I think it's always nice to see those bright red jerseys clashing against the yellows. They,
Yeah, absolutely. Totally get you now after hearing your story. Is there any expectation for Gignac to score this game? 2 games without a goal. Does he score El Volcan?
I don't think he breaks it this time. I think the drought continues. I think we see him again rise to a strong run of form when the playoffs come. I would expect playoff Gignac to show up again. I think his regular score, I would predict 1 more goal for him in the regular season.
Wow. So, dude, you think with 1 goal he'll be able to solidify or get the scoring title?
It's going to be real close.
Yeah,
I say he scores a goal in Jornada 17 to clinch the scoring title.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I can see that. What about Piojo? What do you expect for him this game? One of the things that I was really disappointed.
I would say, so for our plan of attack, if you watch kind of some of the highlights of their recent run of form, they give up chances. There is goals to be had left and right. You've just got to be, they are very particularly weak against strong individual dribblers. So I would look for, get the ball out to the wings, find Florian, find Quinones, and let them do their thing as much as possible over and over and over again, cutting runs, long diagonal balls into Gignac in the middle, Vigon in the middle, making diagonal runs across their lines, because they will leave you space if you take the space they're giving you. But you've got to be willing to put the pressure with the ball at your feet. because when you try to just play that kind of ticky-tacky possession, let's pass it around the back, let's pass it around the side again, let's kind of just move to karaoke, then it's back to the defense and we're swinging it around, and that kind of that laziness that we can fall into sometimes. That is exactly what Toluca is looking for, to then press us on the counter and take long distance shots while they're running at you.
Absolutely.
And so in terms of Piojo strategy, I would hope that he's got a strong substitution plan so that we can come out with a high level of intensity in that early 60, and he can say to, maybe he's starting the Cordova this game, say, hey, Mr. Cordova, I need 60 fantastic minutes from you, and then we're going to get you out of there for 30 minutes, and we should have a lead by then if you've played well, and I'll put Mr. Duenas in for you, or somebody an Ayala in for you, somebody that then kind of shifts us more to a holding factor, provided we've gotten that lead from our intensity difference in the first 60 minutes. So that's what I'm hoping to see is him to really take advantage of those, both the 3 subs we normally get, and then also those COVID subs, man. It really allows for a lot of roster flexibility. And so I hope that he's got a plan for that.
And that's where I was, disappointed the last 2 games, because the substitutions has been really key and has been one of our strengths. And this season is, obviously having a deep bench and his management of that bench and those starting players with substitutions. And I think that these last 2 games, he either made the wrong sub, especially in this last game. The game against Pachuca, where he subbed out Guido Pizarro for David Ayala. You lost the game there. You bring in a guy, in the middle of the attacking, minutes of Pachuca trying to win at home, and at least Guido Pizarro still gives you that experience, that that awareness on the field, whatever. And you bring in a player who's like fresh and like hasn't really been in the intensity of the game. Green. So I didn't like that substitution, and I didn't like the fact that he didn't make enough offensive substitutions to try and win the game. And then going to the Querétaro game, I think that at times he should have made a couple more subs, especially with the amount of time. We went down 10 men. I think it was a good time in the second half to like switch up some things and try to win the game in a different way, which we ended up pulling a win, but not in the best way possible. I think we got to play both matches. So I'm really looking for Piojo to also bounce back on that spectrum.
Absolutely.
And I guess the last thing that I have, man, for this game is, we've seen some starting lineups online, Twitter, and I've seen some on Facebook. But tomorrow, Thursday practice, for those that whoever you guys or when you guys watch this game, tomorrow, Thursday, it's the last interescuadras, or I actually don't even know what the word might be in English, but basically where Piojo figures out his lineup. Usually on Thursday it's when we find out. And so there's been rumors about Guido Pizarro sliding in the back at center back and bringing in Cordova to play alongside Carioca and Vigon, which with Florian, Gignac, and Quiñones up top. So more of a 4-3-3, if you must say, but I think it also allows
flexible into a 4-5-1, very much so, with those two playing a left mid, right mid instead of a left wing, right wing, for sure.
Do you expect that to be the lineup, or do you see do you see maybe Reyes or Igor Lichnowsky sliding back into that center back, and then Cordova going back to the bench with Pizarro moving up?
I will defer to the guys in Monterrey as opposed to me being here in terms of insider information for starting lineups. But
what would you like to see though?
But with that said, I'm okay with experimenting a little bit with a more offensive draw instead of having stick with that 5 at the back. I know it's been very successful for us, but at the same time, in our last couple of games, there has been a little stagnation, you would say, both in the lost 2 games ago, and then I know Ayala's red card was questionable at best, I would say, but then that's a self-inflicted wound when Soto takes off his jersey and then you're another man down for the last 15 minutes, right? So there's definitely been either a lack of concentration or seeming intensity in some of the last couple of games. So switching something up, getting you a fresh look at some guys before the playoffs start, since it's clear that we've got a playoff spot locked in hand. I'm not against it in the slightest, because soccer is obviously a game of very dynamic and changing chemistries. And so it's like when you go on those runs or you find that whatever special magic that it is where you get on a good run, it can be scary to touch that or mess with that because you don't want to throw something off. But I think that you risk that level of stagnation where you just keep the Tuca method. Hey, here's my 11. You'll be lucky if you get one sub at the 80th minute. Here they go, right? And you just roll the ball out and play every time. that can bring you a lot of success if you're more talented than the other guy. But I think Piojo, as a more dynamic coach with more coaching strategies and more the variation in the lineups, will hopefully, give us more dynamic options and playing styles when the playoffs come, because you're going to have to play different ways and get contributions from many different guys on the field to get through a full Lehigh run.
Absolutely. I think you know the hammer on the nail. So anything else, final thoughts about
That's
this
all I
upcoming
got
game?
for you this evening, bud. I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for your time. Guys, when you listen to this audio, Sean's going to be my next.
Hit subscribe. This man's going to be a legend. Make him famous. Let's do it. Let's do it, baby.
Hopefully, man. So, Sean, last thing, where can people find you online? Can people find you on Twitter? Obviously, what's your handle on there?
Yeah, at Twitter, at TX Tech Sean. That's me. If you like dog pictures, Twitter content filled with Tigres and Jayhawks primarily, and the occasional other thing. But yeah, those are my primary areas of expertise. So come and follow me if you'd like. And yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. We'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. And you can find me at _Lozano10. That's my personal Twitter, but you can also follow Laud Times on YouTube channel under Laud Times. And then you can also find me on Instagram under La_U_Times. And then on Facebook as Laud Times. So thank you everybody for your time. Hopefully Tigres gets his dub on Saturday. Arriba la U.
La U.